From the William B. Travis Building in Austin, Texas, we're keeping Texas energy on track. Here's your host, Bryce Doobie.
Welcome to Texas Energy on Track, the official podcast of the Railroad Commission of Texas. I'm your host, Bryce Doobie, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime here, Nick Cranach. Nick, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm glad I'm your partner in crime. So I'm not just the only one doing the crime. I'm here alongside with you. Yeah, it's good to be back in the studio, rocking out another episode. Another one, I know I say this a lot. Oh, this is going to be a good one, but this is, I think, interesting. I think hopefully the people have thought the episodes are interesting, because I know I do. I think this is pretty cool. It's an interesting topic, I think.
I am excited for today's guest because I have a lot of background in crisis communications with my job with being the agency spokesperson here, but in previous roles as well. Like we've kind of talked in the past, I've done a lot of different things with all that. So I always love talking to people in this field and in this space. So we're joined today by Christopher Cabrera. He's a project manager with the RRC, and he's the lead for our team of safety and emergency managers. How's it going today?
Doing amazing. I'm a big listener, super grateful to be here. Very pumped and honored to be on the show. So thank you guys for having me.
No, absolutely. Just as per usual with everybody, it's kind of like that opening question. I mean, we know your name and we know a little bit about what you do, but how long have you been with the commission? And just tell us a little bit, just top level, before we dive into it. What do you do here at the RRC?
Absolutely. So as you guys said, my name is Christopher Cabrera. I have the honor and privilege of leading the agency's team of safety and emergency managers. I've been at the agency going on 8 years. So especially me as a millennial, being at anywhere for more than 2 years is almost hard to come by. And I finally found a place that I'm super grateful to be here. A little bit background about myself. I come from an engineering, oil and gas engineering and field operations background. Before moving to Austin, Texas, I lived for many years in West Texas, Midland specifically, Midland proud, Midland bred. I even have still my 432 area code number. And I don't think I'll ever change to the 512 number just because I love Midland, Texas that much. And
I haven't. That's all right. Yeah.
I'm a 254 Killeen, Texas, coming out of Fort Hood. So yeah, I totally respect it.
You get it. Absolutely. And so before coming here, I was a hydraulic fracturing engineer for a major oil field service organization. Later on, I got promoted as a project manager for the same organization, but a different product service line called Testing and Subsea. And so this product service line called Testing and Subsea was proven tried and true in the Eastern Hemisphere. And so the leadership team wanted to bring it to the Western Hemisphere. And so they hired a mixture of frac engineers, cement engineers, reservoir guys and gals to start up the Western Hemisphere Testing and Subsea. And so I was one of the pioneers there. What we did was really big on downhole fluid sampling tools, well testing, flowback, drill outs. So a combination of engineering, torque and drag, as well as like really back-breaking good work. And so very pumped about that.
So oil and gas background through and through definitely sounds like.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, so you know what you're talking about, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
I do communications, but like this, we've talked on the show before, I've been doing this only for a few months now, and I'm learning so much. So it's always really a privilege to talk to you guys who've been in this industry and around these different spaces. Some of the other guests we've had on too, it's the same thing. It's really interesting to see just the depth of knowledge and experience here at the commission. Kind of talking all about that, and this is going to sound like sort of an obvious transition into your role now. I mean, when we talk safety and things, there are definitely challenges and things. Like what goes into your job here with the Railroad Commission with safety? Because I know there's just so many elements to all of this.
Absolutely. So our main area of responsibility can be broken up into one of three facets: general safety, safety training administration, and then the emergency management specific charter. So when I say general safety, just think of health and wellness, general organizational safeties, building inspections, helping with the fleet, insurance for that, right? A lot of the administration stuff, ergonomic, ADA accommodations. So that's the general safety portion, right? A lot of the training that we provide, which spills into the training and administration. We do CPR, stop the bleed, AED, life-saving training for the agency and for the employees at the agency. We do defensive driving training. We help in accident investigations. So there's like a council that human resources, us at safety, support services, which is fleet. So a lot of really good work. And then finally is the emergency management charter. So after Winter Storm Uri, that's when the emergency management charter officially came to safety. And so that's been incredible because we support the Texas Division on Emergency Management at the State Operations Center. And the State Operations Center is literally underground. It's a bunker that the team activates to when the governor calls. It's a call sheet. And depending on what the accident, incident, emergency is, you'll see if your organization is on that call sheet, and then you'll activate to the State Operations Center and provide that service there.
Very cool. I know, like just mentioning, just talking on some of the safety pieces, I think probably a couple different ones. I know, Nick, you said I know you recently did the Stop the Bleed or the CPR or
Both.
both. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the CPR and Stop the Bleed, very informative, very hands-on. So you definitely learn a lot. It was beneficial for me, for sure. I know I think about that all the time now. I go places and I'll look, whether it's like at our church, I'm like, oh, hey, there's the AED over there, just in case something happens. And the ones we have at our church are actually the same exact ones we have on our floors here at the William B. Travis building. And so I'm more aware now of like, oh, hey, if something happens, I know I can do this. And, I know to put pressure on this to stop the bleed. So, yeah, the training that we do, it's probably the public doesn't know. I mean, but the employees learn. But, yeah, that was definitely informative. And I know it's good for 2 years. And I'm probably going to go back and take the class again in 2 years, just, the refresh on everything. But, yeah, it was very helpful. Very beneficial.
Because we have a lot, we have just thinking just as an agency being statewide, we have a lot of folks who are out on the road, like you mentioned, with like investigations and like crashes and things like that. But a lot of our inspectors and our field staff are out in lots of places where it can be, industrial sites and things where it can be a little dangerous, and having those skill sets just trained into the staff really is, vital.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've actually heard success stories of, because this CPR Stop the Bleed training is not only for adults, but it's also in case for infants as well, right? So families and loved ones at homes. And we've received tons of positive feedback, specifically one feedback from an employee that said, hey, my daughter was choking at home and I had just taken the CPR course a week before, and so I knew what to do. I remained calm, cool, collected, and was able to save my daughter's life and then take her to the hospital. So that was a huge win, and that's just something that pays dividends in the end. So that was incredible.
That's really, really cool. And we do have a lot of folks on the road. You show up here, you take defensive driving and all those types of things, but we do have, again, so many of our inspectors and staff heading out, traveling the length and breadth of the state. So I imagine that kind of keeps you guys fairly gainfully employed as well, just kind of looking at how all of that is. What kind of goes into all of that when you see these different experiences? Because we're talking folks driving in Houston versus driving out in Midland and things. There's probably a lot of different things you have to look at and consider when you're thinking about these safety plans.
Absolutely. So we work in partnership with Fleet, and our fleet here at the Railroad Commission, our fleet managers, the support services manager, Donna Walker, they are incredible and they do awesome work. And they're always thinking ahead. That's what I love about that organization and that department. They're always thinking ahead and looking at mitigating incidents. And so where we come in is we help them on the back end, on the front end and on the back end. So the first thing with the defensive driving, we keep people safe and we keep ingraining it in their minds, the employees, hey, think safe, think proactive, right? Think preventative. And that has shown paying dividends. We have data that shows that the amount of accidents year over year is actually decreasing and the trend is actually going down. So that's incredible, right? Because that shows that the safety culture is actually working and what we're doing is actually making a difference. And then second of all, we also help on the back end side, so all the administrative side. So for vehicles to go out of state, there's separate insurance policies that they need to carry. And so we help and we work with the State Office of Risk Management to make sure that those vehicles and those fleets have the proper coverages that they need, whether they're going to Louisiana, Oklahoma, or even a little bit further, so that the RRC inspectors can just focus on doing their job and doing it to the best of their capabilities.
And that's all part of that one agency, one team, and kind of talking and segueing off of that. Like when we talk about like the emergency management charter, I know you talked a little bit about that earlier. How does that play into the same piece? Because we've got the piece where we're keeping the workforce safe, we're doing all of our sort of trainings internally, but then when it comes to the agency stepping up for emergency management, all that, and we have a charter, just tell me a little bit more.
Absolutely. So the Railroad Commission, specifically the Safety and Emergency Management Team, and just as an agency collectively, we support the ESF 12 charter. And what that is, ESF stands for Emergency Support Function 12. So that's the state of Texas's energy charter. So we are activated to the State Operations Center for state emergencies, such as severe weather, winter weather, that's a big one, winter weather for the Railroad Commission, infrastructure threats, inaugurations, hurricanes, natural disasters, and other emergency situations as requested. We work closely with TDEM and partner agencies across the state, supporting natural gas supply chain readiness during an emergency event. We ensure effective communication and coordination as it relates to the natural gas supply chain. That's what we are responsible for. We work in partnership with our internal Railroad Commission district offices. That includes oil and gas, critical infrastructure division, oversight and safety district offices to provide timely and accurate updates, help needs with emergencies across the state of Texas. While we are activated at the State Operations Center, we hold and facilitate meetings with our state's major producers, natural gas producers, and pipeline distribution companies in the state of Texas, which supply and feed the natural gas critical infrastructure distribution system for the entire state of Texas. We provide our regulated industry with weather emergency resources while at the State Operations Center during these winter events, such as state roadway surveys, where industry can literally report state highway road treatment assistance in real time. And the beauty about that is TxDOT is Texas Department of Transportation. They're right across from us, right? So every single partner state agency during these emergencies are at the State Operations Center. And so it provides for a quick, timely, and everyone is ready to help out. There's a big sense of camaraderie and teamwork while the State Operations Center is activated. So everyone's willing to help, and we're able to provide these need and these help requests in an extremely timely manner, which then helps ensure the integrity of the grid. I always tell people that the biggest value that this charter brings is that we are effective communicators. So why is that important? We enable our agency leaders and our state leadership to continue to make good informed decisions as it relates to the natural gas supply chain to the grid. So it's a huge responsibility, but allowing that effective communication and for us to be accurate, to be on time, that's the biggest value that we bring within that whole charter, within that whole chain.
What would you consider is your favorite part of the job?
I think my favorite part of the job is actually being able and having the opportunity to lead the team of safety and emergency management and emergency managers. They truly are the best of the best, and I'm very proud of them and all they do for the state. We talk about that one agency, one team culture, and how our executive director and his leadership team has really cultivated that one agency, one team, and in everything that they do, their character and commitment is truly reflected in the work ethic and the stewardship of mission. I actually heard it in many different ways. I think the most appealing was to me, and the one that sit the most was when actually in the Bible, when the Apostle Paul talked about in Romans 12, personal responsibility, and it talks about leadership and said, hey, if you're given the ability to lead well. And so I've always taken that extremely seriously, and being able to mentor this team of safety and emergency managers and giving them the opportunity to grow, to contribute, to add value. That's been the biggest part of the job. And it's the part that I'm super proud of, because my leadership team enables me to do my job to the best that I can. And then I do that. And that just leads to a really good, well-oiled machine where we never miss. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's the biggest value.
So you mentioned that State Operations Center and kind of the where when things are serious enough and there is that activation. So I'm assuming you've been there for both probably training and real world types of situations as you've been here for 8 years now, or?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We kind of have a motto within our team. We train like we operate. And so we're always continuously training. We have a training mindset because the state of Texas depends on us, and the agency depends on us to be professional, to do a good job, and to know what we're doing. And so we're always training, we're always learning, and we're really proud of it. So it's good stuff.
So walking in there, something it's like for real world situation, something has gone sideways in the state of Texas, and we're called to the table. I imagine you walk in, you sit underground, all that, big screens, lots of computers, things like that, kind of a war room, for lack of a better term. Like what is that like? How does that feel being in there when you know, like, all right, now here's the time where like kind of rubber meets the road?
Yeah. You want to make sure that things that may seem common after you do it time in and time out, that it kind of never goes old. Like things that are meant to be, that you're supposed to take that moment to look back and be like, man, this is an honor and privilege to be here, that it doesn't get old. And I think you have to kind of look at yourself, be like, man, like I'm proud of what I'm doing. I'm proud of what the team is doing, and I'm proud that we have the opportunity to go out there. So a little bit of like how that works is, first and foremost, I talked earlier about the call out sheet. So we receive a call out sheet that says who is going, or which agencies, which emergency support functions are going to be activated for that emergency. So once that happens, it'll say, hey, these will be 12-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts. So make sure that you plan accordingly and get your staff ready. So the assistant executive director and I, Randall Collins, and I will talk, and we'll say like, okay, hey, Christopher, you and one of your employees, or you and 2 or 3 of your employees will work 12 or 24-hour shifts. Since January 2025, the team has actually spent almost 300 total hours spent at the State Operations Center since January 2025, right? So that's equivalent to almost 13 24-hour days. The guys have worked Christmases, they've worked New Year's or winter weather, and so just super proud of them.
And for the listeners out there, when we're thinking, because they might not know, like, oh, oil and gas regulation, where does that fit in on the emergency? What sort of emergencies are we talking about in those situations? You mentioned winter storms. What's something else that you might see RRC there in the center?
The Panhandle wildfires. The team was activated for several days out there just to make sure that we advocate for the physical assets that we regulate out there. And so talking with our agency leadership as well as state leadership about, based on where the fires are, these are where our assets are. So helping out with that. The inaugurations are really cool because you either have like a primary or a secondary role there. And so sometimes, especially like during winter storms, we serve a very primary function there. And for like inaugurations, floodings, we serve a secondary support role. So we're there to add value where and however we can.
Has there ever a time where either you or maybe a new employer or something, because I've been down to the SOC, you've allowed us to get pictures of you and stuff for social media and things. I know for me, once you get down there, you walk in, it's like, whoa, this is real. Is it, do you ever not get complacent, but like get used to it? And then also, if there's any new employees or maybe the first time they're going to be down there, is it ever like, whoa, this is like actually happening? Because to me, it was like, wow, it's almost kind of like what you would expect on TV. Sometimes they show something, everyone's moving around, there's screens, and that's pretty much what it is.
100%. Because we're all human, and it's the human factor, right? I feel like the human factor is always to drift towards complacency, not drift towards excellence. Drifting towards excellence takes intentionality. It takes commitment. It takes discipline and determination. And so our agency leaders, they count on us, and they're always telling us like, hey, Christopher, hey, safety and emergency management team, make sure that y'all do not drift towards complacency, and make sure that you guys continue to have that mindset to where you're always ready and you stay aggressive when it comes to that, because it is very easy to get complacent. And so we change things up for the better, for the worse. Most of the times it's always for the better. We constantly change up the routine because it's so easy to have some of our experienced emergency managers always working days and our newer employees always working nights. In our team, we always say clarity is kindness, because sometimes we're left in the dark on things and our mind starts to wander. So as much as I can, I'm always clear and I'm always direct, because that leads to kindness within the team. And that's important because that helps mitigate complacency, right? Because we're always changing up the routine, not changing up the routine in order to make people's lives harder, but it's to help fight off that complacency, because especially within emergency management, it's long hours, it's long times at one place, but that little key piece of information, or whenever Chief Kidd, he's the Texas Division on Emergency Management's chief, or whenever one of his section chiefs, or whenever our agency leadership, from the commissioner to the executive director, to any of the division directors or our assistant executive director, Randall Collins, whenever they need information, we can get it to them and it's accurate and it's timely and they can trust us on it. And so to answer your question, that's how we fight off that complacency. It's a mindset change, and it's everyone buying into that mindset to know that, hey, we have to do this way.
And I can imagine that it's probably, once you get down there the first time, maybe you're taken in, but then once you get to the work, I mean, you're there, you're doing the work, you're protecting the people of Texas. That's when it snaps in and you're just going, your training kicks in. And that's what I would assume that it's like down there. And then especially events like, I know Hurricane Harvey, our team was down there, and then the flooding in Central Texas back in July. I mean, things like that, we have people there all, like you said, 24 hours a day, and it's long times away from their family, and they're doing this to protect the people in the state of Texas.
Absolutely. And I'm so proud of the guys too, because with that mindset of what we do matters, they always come back after every activation. They always come back and they always talk to Randall and I, and they're like, hey, these are ways that we can improve with the tools and with the capabilities that we have. One of the biggest wins that we had recently was with our emergency response map. So our emergency response map is it's online, and what it does is that it maps out from the state of Texas the entire natural gas supply chain to the state of Texas, because the Texas grid has a mix of natural gas and coal, amongst other things. Mm-hmm. And so within the natural gas, it's very important for us to know, hey, what is the supply chain of it? Because we're responsible for the integrity of that, right? The feeding of the natural gas to the energy grid. And so the guys, they've come back and be like, hey, Randall, Christopher, I think we can work if we start adding different layers to that. As our charter increases, as other activations from wildfires to hurricanes to floodings, they're like, hey, can we work with our ITS team, which shout out to the Railroad Commission ITS team. They're phenomenal. So they added many different layers and they helped us out. So peak storm surge, they added storm surge risk, tropical weather, wildfire layer, and then precipitation layers. And I said it before, I'm so proud of them, and I know the agency and the state are proud of them, because what they're doing is good, hard work.
Well, I know we're running on time here some, so I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by on talking a little bit about what you do. I know with kind of every topic we've had, we can kind of keep going for extended interviews in the future. So I'd love to maybe come back, talk more once we maybe get through a winter weather season, something like that, and see some more things, lessons learned as we move forward, improvements and all of that. So once again, thank you so much to Christopher Cabrera. He is the lead for our team of safety and emergency managers here at the Railroad Commission of Texas. I know we've got a couple different things lined up throughout the rest of this year. One I'm really excited for, it's the folks who we work with, just kind of a teaser for a future episode, our Office of Public Engagement. These folks do outreach all across the state. They've got an amazing story. Not on the next episode, they'll be coming soon. We've got a couple other really interesting ones as well.
There are just many, many topics and things maybe that people may not know that we do, that we can just inform them that, yes, there's Railroad Commission. You think, okay, oil and gas, but there's much more. We hope to highlight that. And of course, you can find us on social media on X, TXRRC, LinkedIn and Facebook. Look for Railroad Commission of Texas. And then on Instagram, Railroad Commission of Texas. And be sure to follow these accounts because we will have plenty of content that we're going to be putting out there. So you can follow along there. And of course, where you're listening now, tell your friends, family, download the episode. We're on pretty much every podcast format that you can think of. We're out there and we're happy to get the message out, and we can't thank our listeners enough for their support and making us work a little harder, but that's okay.
Thank you so much for stopping by and listening today, and we will talk to y'all soon.